a spot for Korea back from Tempest right now.
And you were actually mentioning yesterday that maybe Tempest are a little bit upset that Gen.G were kind of awoken. That loss against Miracle yesterday perhaps has awoken the Gen.G beast. And when Gen.G are on top, they are in good form. They are the scariest team in the world. Even against Dignitas, who took them all the way to that final game at MSB, you could always tell that Gen.G, if they did play their game, were always favored. And it was just such an incredible series to watch. I mean, we got a chance to see incredible series from Gen.G in the finals, but they also played against Tempest at MSB, 3-0'd them. And even though the meta has changed, maybe we're going to see that again here in part one.
I think you are not totally wrong, and
Okay,
I
all right.
I do follow that. The Tempest, of course, in lots of different environment in this case, a different meta, different ban picks, but in this kind of situation where Gen.G, what they have is what they have. It's basically they're playing what they're good at more than you can't really hard focus him. And by that time, the DPS will basically kill you because they're Gen.G, mechanically super skilled. Phoenix, this time, usually it's actually Rich playing Tracer and reset on that Phoenix, but this time they swapped. And Rich with that level 1, that he was making sure he hits the maximum every single time when he gets the stacks for. Changes the pace, and then reset comes from the side because he's not really defended with any shield from Tastar or Tyrael in this case. A lack of heals from Kerosene, so he's always to the side, tries to assassinate the Falstad back line. So lots of mechanical individual decision and play, but they all line up together. That's the type of team we have here with Gen.G. They were not playing the same yesterday, but they seem like they're possibly in the best shape today. So Tempest, they are going to have a hard time trying to come back into the series. I do think after watching game 1, this could just be a 2-0 and maybe just a 3-0.
I mean,
I'm not going to lie.
It does seem like that's likely. You got to know they get back to the team house and Noblesse gets out the bat. And he's like, all right, no more
It's got to be
Asmodean.
it's got to be Socket. Remember spring 2016? Got that trophy out and get down there.
He beat
Boom!
it with it.
Get down there. Boom! That was the trophy with Michael Moheim watching it from the seat, only 20 meters away. That's exactly what you do with the trophy.
Well, I mean, maybe more trophies in their future if they keep playing like this. It's all about which Gen.G shows up. Is it the MSP Championship Gen.G or is it the Gen.G that loses to Miracle yesterday? And it certainly looks like they are back in that championship form. And, you know, that's very reassuring for Gen.G fans, not only with the win maybe today, but then going into the Eastern Clash. It would be good to see Gen.G back in form right before a major tournament.
But Tempest, I think there needs to be a little bit of change. Anubarak, I don't think it's the right one to play against Gen.G's super mobile comp. Today, I think Gen.G really had their Tracer pick later on, even had Kerosene after the Anubarak, maybe picking their DPS a little bit before or the solo line because they had the rail not even banned. Why not just grab it early and pick the DPS and tank later on? And not Anubarak, certainly today. It does not really work against Gen.G. Maybe it can on a smaller map like Spider, which was actually banned in this case, so you can't really have that. Changing off to a different tank. I think Muradin War between Test and Sake is going to be big. Kerosene between the support, and of course Phoenix Hanzo. So we have a lot of contest in the hero pool there. Lots has to be done with the draft for Tempest right now.
That's right. And there are a few wild cards, right? Because there are more bans, we didn't have to deal with Raynor or any of like the Ninja Assassins, Maev also taken out. And if any one of those gets let through, there's always that big question mark, you know, is Raynor a high enough priority for two of our top teams to take that? I mean, we actually got a really cool interview at the end of our first series saying that Raynor is not a first pick. It gives too much information to your opponents. They've got so many opportunities to counter that. So I want to see what it looks like when Raynor is not banned and then maybe even not picked. If we could see a departure from that, just grab Raynor as soon as you can.
Yeah, it should be close to a fifth pick like an Illidan, sometimes Avatar, sometimes Raynor. Those kind of surprise pick as we saw from the previous match, Zul'jin.
Yeah.
Fifth pick surprise until you see the entire comp of the opponent. Okay, I think it's possible. Then pick one. It's just like Maev in this case in Korea. Maev's still sometimes first pick actually Does have an okay win rate with the first pick, but that's because we have a lot more bans for Maiev. But still, you can have lots of counters like the Falstad and also Blaze. When you have those counters being safety, all the disengaging tools away from the cage, then Maiev doesn't really have a good pick. So that's why we actually had a transition into some containment disc, having one trapped and then just focusing on one. And I don't know why we're talking still, and that's why we're talking about a lot of the stuff. But whenever Tempest has their setup, I think they'll take a long time between maps. Maybe that's.
I mean, I'm glad they're taking
a
long time. I would hate to see a team just rush into game, and then lose each one of them. Better to try to take a little bit of a break, refocus, and try to get back into this because, I would never say that there was really a moment in game 1 where Tempest looked like they had the lead, right? Gen.G really played that immaculately all the way from that first level lead that they got around level 7 or 8. And they just had that, and it exacerbated it more and more and more as the game went on.
That's the type of style that Gen.G loves to have in the Sky Temple. That's a snowbally map, and they love to do that all the time against all the other team in the world. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where's Wolf. I don't know where's Rally. I don't know where Sean is. I don't know where the heroes are. And I can't just run into the studio and says, "Hey, what's up? What's happening?" and come back because you will be soloed.
That's true, and nobody wants that. So please stay here and save me. G-Clef, it's good to have you here. It's good to be here for what is a very momentous occasion that is drawing on a little bit longer than we expected.
Still not getting any updates. I wish we do get some updates, as I know the hot potato of HGC Korea is always our fashionable dressing.
Well, that's true.
And our beautiful hair all the time.
We did have a moment where we kind of changed things up as far as our wardrobe was concerned.
Oh, yes, we did that once last time.
That's true.
It's beautiful.
Well, Twitch Chat had a great idea. They recommended to us that we should change our wardrobe, and we went and did that. And it was actually a great idea, but I think that is maybe the only time where we let them decide anything about our lives.
And it was actually a bad idea for me to turn off the AC because it's
about
to get blazing hot in here. I wasn't really expecting this amount of long period of time before we go into the second game, and because there will be a commercial break after. So we're actually having so much more time in this heated place with no...
There's not a solid build order, G-Clef.
Fan, no AC. We do have the AC, but we just had it off because it was it was getting a little chilly. Well, and not really expect this time.
The contrast is that because these are two very popular teams in Tempest and Gen.G playing, we actually have all the big fans outside in the audience, and none of the big fans in here on us. So
there's one.
That's right. Maybe a little bit. I'm not a big enough fan, obviously. It is about 36 degrees outside today, so
37.8 in Seoul, which transfers into
it's about
101 Fahrenheit, I think, and take into the humidity level in Korea, which is near 60% or higher in this case.
Up there, yeah.
And you're walking in the street, all those cements. You're not gonna have a good time.
You're carrying your eggs. Oh, you drop them, they cook instantly. It's that kind of day.
Yes, we actually have Korean news where they go out, and then it's so hot here, and then they actually
crack
bacon. Like they actually cook bacon outside. They just have a dish, and then they have bacon after 30 minutes. See, it's cooked. We can eat it. That's how hot it is right now in Korea. And without the AC, we are going to fail.
That's right. Any moment now, you'll see those beads of sweat coming down our forehead, which are either because we are very nervous, but more likely because there is no AC on right now. So maybe we can rectify that if only we had some sort of splash screen.
That's actually one of the best human inventions, AC. Electricity.
Alternating
AC,
current, either direct
computer,
current or alternating.
Heroes of the Storm, like 4 best, right?
Buttered toast, way up there. Sliced bread, high on the list of...
What's your favorite jam? What's number 1 on your list?
MC Hammer.
Nutella.
Ah, okay. Well, almost as good. DMX up there as far as jams go as well. But let's go ahead and get into a series that is heating up as well. I was waiting for that one. Here we go. Another 6-man set between Tempest and Gen.G to figure out what this is going to look like. Starting things off with the Abathur. There's the Genji band. So nothing changing just yet.
We're saved, Rapid. Let's get in.
I'm so...
Malfurion banned this time, so... Raynor? Hold on to it.
Huh? Where is that gonna come out? I mean, Tempest seemed more than happy enough to ban that last time, but now it's up to Gen.G. They want to let that pick through, and honestly, even if they do let Raynor through here, I hope Tempest does not fall for that bait and pick it first.
I wish we go to that next level. Yes, it is going to be a Karazim.
We're evolving.
We're evolving, and I was expecting this to happen. Some support chokes with the 6 spans, with the new strategies. I am liking this already. What is it going to be? So many heroes open. Towers of Doom.
Now, we've made Gluck hold the Everstone, but now we have taken that away from the hands of Tempest, and they have evolved to the next level of drafting. We are foregoing Raynor, maybe for second ban phase, but at least for right now, a lot of respect being given. With Maiev unbanned, that will be Gen.G's first pick.
This is intelligent, crazy amount of mind games going on. We always highlight about mind games in StarCraft because it's 1v1, but in this kind of format as well, because they let Falstad, and it's going to be, again, very likely, they're forcing out the Falstad because they already have Maiev, saying that we have Maiev, why don't you play Falstad again? You were pretty bad in game 1. That's the mind game going on in the draft right now.
And a Rhaegar pick coming in along with Blaze. No Yrel out here at all, and actually with a Malfurion and a Karazim ban, the support pool is going to be really limited coming into this game too.
That's what they're going to have. Nubarak ban. With some chain. This time, because last time it was not the same. It was just the Nubarak with Malfi. With Blaze, the chain CC can be pretty powerful. That AoE damage from jump propulsion as well. AoE stun. So does ban that out as they can heal a lot more when Maiev Dehaka comes out. This is the drafting I wanted to see. Maybe later, okay. I think Raynor does fit in this case. With Maiev, it can't just be containment disc. They have to think about plan B as well. So Raynor is available, still very strong. So let's take that out for now and go with the drafting.
It actually does make, like you said, a little bit more sense to take Raynor out here because maybe you build a comp through your first round of picks, and then Raynor's your ace card in the end. So not going to be coming in here either. The final 2 picks coming in for Tempest after Muradin is actually locked in for Gen.G, along with that Li Ming.
Because that Li Ming is not banned, it was banned in game 1. Maiev Li Ming is just enough of a damage so they can actually clear lots of kills. They will have Thrall for disengage as well as some kill potential pickup as sustain as well. So Tempest going for that double solo lane once again in this case. Grabbing that ETC after the Nubarak ban seems like a smart choice. Now all up to Sake. What's the support going to be? Rhaegar gone, Malfurion gone, Karazim gone. Top tiers are all gone. Is it just going to be Stukov for that?
It is!
Silence against the ETC. Okay.
I watched G-Clef reach under the table and rubbed his crystal ball right before Stukov was locked in. A sick pick at the end, and we were talking about the limited support pool.
This is going to be the next level next week. I think it's going to transfer into next weekend as well, where Raynor is banned for the second ban phase, or maybe even after that. I think we have some issues with Science Computer at the moment. So we might actually have to go into... Or was it Hide? I think it's Hide and Sign together.
Both their computers explode simultaneously. It's like, well, what are the chances of that? Gonna get that all fixed up, and we're back. But now we have a little bit more to talk about.
What?
The draft.
Oh, yes.
That thing that just happened over there. That meta-defining...
Yes. Crazy amount of calories.
But so good.
But
and
so
on
good. All
waffles
the good
everywhere.
All the good things. Like this steed here, it's like 20K USD right here.
All Nutella. It's an investment, a lifelong investment. Anyway, let's talk about...
I have to get rid of it, though.
Let's talk about the draft and the game. We've stalled for long enough. A lot of cool things happening. The meta kind of changed. I know you want to talk about Nutella. It's okay. The meta changing before our eyes. And I do think that if you have to pick two teams that are really ahead of the game compared to the rest of HGC Korea, Tempest and Gen.G are on the bleeding edge, and you could really see that letting Raynor through the first phase, banning it second phase, and actually for Gen.G getting Maev, that's always a very high ban priority.
Let's see how they can actually have Maev in this case. They're only looking for one. Clearly with Li Ming, and reset on that Li Ming is always a scary thing. Has always been ever since Reset started to play that Li Ming, or ever since Li Ming came out into Heroes of the Storm. I think early or mid 2016. It's been some time.
It's been about 2 years.
And
yeah.
I'm talking about the diamond skin days, and that's pretty. When Li Ming first came out, everyone was saying, "Oh, diamond skin is the way to go."
All right, we know only
so
90s
good.
kids will remember those days.
I'm
but
not even 90s kids.
I was gonna say we're the same age actually. Not
No,
Korean age.
No way.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Okay, well, we'll talk more about our vast similarities later on. But to get back to the draft, it has been a long time, and ever since the very inception of Li Ming as a meta pick, we have seen her be very popular. But now coming through for Gen.G, at the end of this draft phase, who would you say has the advantage?
Okay, we've got to. I'll answer that later. We are getting some system check, computer check for Sign before we get into the game. Of course, we do want to have the perfect one. And what was your question again?
My question was, we had a much different draft phase in game number 2 than we either had in game 1 or the first series. So after all is said and done, who do you think came out ahead?
Depends on how well Tempest will actually split when Maev comes in. I think Gen.G has lots of comfortable picks for themselves. I think a lot on. I think the only weak link that I could actually find from Gen.G will be that Stukov. Sake did not play too many Stukov. Could look in the sheet right now and tell you how many times you actually played that Stukov this year.
So many tiny boxes.
Only once in part. Only once in part number 1, phase number 2. So hard to read Korean sometimes.
I concur. So while G-Clef looks for the Stukov stats, suffice it to say that it is a little bit down in the support hero pool.
And only 4 Stukovs in 120 games. So that's a very low number of support compared to all the other support. He would play a lot more of the other leg. Malfurion 16, Tastar 19. And of course Falstad before he switched into support now. And still only this part, Malfurion, Kerazim, even Alex Raza is in there, about the same level of, same amount of played with Stukov. So that is not the most mastery hero for Sake.
So do you think it's just in here for the combo with the cage, so that you can just put a big silence down right in the middle?
Yeah, it fits the combo for sure. I still don't know if it's going to be cage. I think Gen.G's not the type that actually goes for those super wombos because they don't have to do that. When even without that, they can still create kills by focusing target, and they're really good at that. So I think containment is maybe a better choice depending on how far they're leading or how far they're actually behind. We'll get to see in game, and still it seems like we're having some computer checked up in 2018.
This is where we talk about technology being the vehicle of esports, and how sometimes you need to take your car to the shop. Vehicles do need a little bit of time to be repaired. So what's the update, G-Clef?
Update is that his headset does work. But it is the microphone.
We had to do some detailed analysis before we found out exactly.
So the USB works. Half of the USB work because his headset actually works, but his mic doesn't work. I don't know. Microsoft audio system. I don't understand the most of it.
What could possibly have? There's a reason we're not IT.
Maybe they have some Dolby 5.1 stereo mix first.
But one of the channels, it's only 4.1 stereo. I clearly need 5.1 in order to play.
7.1. Make sure where the haka comes from. It's either from the left or the right or behind. You got to know the crazy sound.
Do you though? I feel like you just kind of look on the screen.
It does the game actually does sound much cooler if you have 7.1.
I concur.
And there are lots of headsets in Korea. It's actually a good trend. uh, the ones that would actually vibrate and give you like a tremble, it's actually like super
I
heavy
feel like
because
that
of
would
that.
really throw me off. I don't really want a
Like
whole
when
lot
you
of.
watch a movie, when you have lots of bass, it actually like trembles along. So it kind of feels like when there's an earthquake, there's a big bass sound, and then it's like.
Yeah, but what if you're wearing that, watching a movie with bass, and there is an actual earthquake?
Then you're screwed.
Okay, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that one. Probably going to hold off on purchasing one of those headsets, but maybe we could grab one and give it to our
Me?
players.
Yes.
Okay, well, also maybe G Clef, who doesn't want to survive earthquakes, apparently.
Yeah, I lived in Maryland, a very, very earthquake safe zone in the
I was
East
going to
Coast.
say, I do not live in a very earthquake-safe zone.
Texas.
Yeah, we also have a lot of tornadoes down there, too.
Exciting.
No Deckard here, but maybe he's from Texas. We have plenty of tornadoes down there.
Oh, you do want to have Lornado, not the one that you have to listen forever.
Oh, that's
As
true.
as a high schooler, as I used to always think about, what if the tornado only destroys my school and no one else, and no one gets hurt? That would be the best thing ever in my lifetime. And
Yeah.
that's like the day before I have the final exams on.
I actually did have that
Which never happens, of course.
once. I did have a test canceled because of a snow day. That was
You had
fantastic.
snow in
I
Texas?
went to school in South Carolina, so it was
okay.
a little bit
In
far
South
away.
Carolina, really?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty exciting.
It was mostly just because I never got snow when I lived in Texas, so it was a momentous occasion.
And we used to have a lot of snow days, and suddenly we had someone change in the higher up in the county that actually decides if we're going to have a day off or not. And the person came from Michigan, so we would have
So
no
no
snow
snow
days
days.
ever when it's snowing like crazy. All the buses are like. All the
Swerving
bus
all over
drivers
the
like,
road.
guys, make sure you grab on. You don't really stand during today because it's snowing, and I don't know why I'm bringing you to schools. And we all survived, but we had lots of
Miraculously
complaints.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was homeschooled, so I never got snow days in high school,
Mhm.
and even in general in the Texas school system, I don't know. I feel like Elsa would be pretty sad in Texas because nobody really has the ability to
Do
build.
you ever get
snowmen
snow
ever.
in Texas?
Once every 10 years, about. That's a pretty good estimate.
Okay.
But now we're
the talk
back.
is over. All the system checked and ready to go, I believe.
Wait, you're gonna jinx it. We'll have a pause in like 10 seconds. But barring that occasion, we are out here and ready to go with game number 2 of Tempest versus Gen.G. Absolutely could be the grand finals of just about every tournament in the world except for the Western Clash, which of course these teams would not be invited to, or Intercontinental.
Not just us. Everyone watching right now is so happy that we're in game, and let's get this on.
Okay, here we go. One of the biggest things to talk about from game number 1 is tempo, the mobility. That momentum really led Gen.G the whole way through, so Tempest has to either be on par or find some way to get their momentum of their own.
Tank fight in game 1. Sign surely lost that game again. Tusk was providing, he was doing massive jobs having 1v3 alone as a Muradin when Sign wasn't really pairing up much of CC for that damage because this was harassing the backline so well. So that's 1-0 for the tank front line. Let's see if Sign can come back in game 2.
We've got the call of Earth and Fire and some lightning up there helping to clear that wave as the green skins rotate down along with Tempest to go for our first few camps of the game. Pointing out my ability to recreate is also a little bit stressed.
Certainly. There's a slow sapper timing. Not slow, quick sapper timing.
Tether latches, following on to Lockdown. It's gonna make his day a little bit more annoying. They push him out of the bush and back away from this wave. Gonna soak up everything there. And I mean, that has been what Dahaka's job has been up top. Sapper waves collide in middle.
No crazy threat so far, of course. Blaze, as I think our observer was highlighting that for unstoppable once you finish it. Used to be the talent that people would take at only when Blaze just came out. But we don't really see that anymore, as the other one seems to be doing better with the higher attack speed or faster cooldown on the skills. That's just better of a meta pick at one, but is going to get that unstoppable later on once that's done.
Will take a while. See how that stacks up.
It is the build for the Pyroblast. You want to get that, I guess, cooldown reduction every time you have that Q, the flame. That's gonna. It's not a really common build. I haven't really seen that at all. Only in the beginning days of Blaze, but ever since then, just none.
So we're trying something a little bit different here on Tempest. But I still want to see what happens. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to talk about Gen.G, how they have massive synergy with Li Ming. So silence, some control and peels. Tempest, how can they break through? This one will be the timing of that Sundering from Brawl. They can create some gaps and create their own disposition with Gen.G. So it is not the same one as Game 1. It will be a lot tougher even for Gen.G to have their perfect positions in this case.
Well, we'll see if Reset lives up to his name. That synergy helps him do that. We haven't hit 10s just yet. No heroics out there. Dodge on stuff from lockdown. Does lead the charge there right at the front line.
That's gone.
Yeah, very invisible. Maev there for a second. Tries to get out, but Vault not helping her out. Does fall down immediately afterwards. Might have tripped off the back of that. Nice focus by Tempest. And they'll take the first, I guess, minor victory. Draw first blood. And now Gen.G looking for a little bit of revenge. Tisk playing Guardian with Sapper Camp.
I know at the moment of a kill, you want to get involved and get some chat, but the most important is how do you make that kill into an important rotation. Let's see. As Tempest, they only got the Sapper, and Gen.G did about the same thing, so they couldn't really snowball the kill into after the vault. So Rich getting focused.
Down very, very low. Lockdown is going to get healed right back up. And together he and Hyde will be able to run back out of way, get some healing from the fountain, but it's another win for Gen.G. They shove that wave all the way in along with the Sappers, now make their rotation up.
Still a little hard, as Gen.G, even though they lost one, still has the Haka for the global. They really miss any wave on top or mid. They had the rotation and got the Sappers as well. Comes down to this one though.
Yep.
Blaze not really rotating up. Seems like they're focusing on this altar, willing to give the extra wave to Deaka up on top. And actually joining the team fight already. They do want to contest for now. Just harassing.
Yep. The altar
up the image
is up. Reset moving between the lane to shove it out, and the fight here on the altar. Channel is consistent by Dami. Is he going to get protected? No. Rich dives in, does get the cancel, but he's going to give his life up for it. He'll fall lockdown. Someone miraculously survives. Tisk going deep for an attempted kill, and he will get it just barely.
And actually, good spacing by Kyocha diving in, making Phoenix just being out of that teamfight zone. That's actually the reason why this was able to dive in, because Raw was surviving with the trade and also helped with the Regar. Missing good from the fight basically meant same 4v4 even if Gen.G lost one of their member as well. It was an even trade there. But of course Gen.G got the altar,
right.
So favored for them.
Not a good day to be an Orc on Tempest. Both of them die and Tempest lose the fight. So again, highlighting that we are continuing with a little bit of an outdated build on Blaze.
Yeah, it's not too bad, I think. It's with the Pyro, Stage Dive, and Bunker. I believe we also had a change with Combustion, maybe doing a little bit more damage. I was saying, really? But Bunker is overall, of course, a better one. And because of that global threat from Dehaka, does go for that Stage Dive and Mosh Pit. In this case, so many CC. The silence from Stukov as well. Not really going to be the best choice for a Mosh Pit. So does lock that Stage Dive. Down, focusing on the Tisk. Continues and does a lot even after the Avatar.
Avatar just barely allowing Tisk to somehow survive back in the back. The bunker goes down, hides inside of it. But it's Dami that might be going down here. Just going to get himself out with a last-second jet propulsion. And That was a very close fight, but in the end, no deaths for either team.
Just able to survive that massive damage. Don't exactly know how much Phoenix was pulling off over there, but Gen.G had all of the members coming right after, so even Tempest after using all that had to go back. Let's see, ETC now as a global, just soaking at the bottom now. But not too far behind, just keeping up the par level.
Right, and keeping parity with 4 health as well here. I don't think that's too surprising, but considering the way that this looks, we saw this map our first series, it's nice to see what it looks like when 2 top teams go head-to-head. Now fighting off Sappers so that they don't collide in with the wall, and looking for any opportunities to engage. I agree that the stage dive, the better call here for Sign, but it certainly does mean that their engages are going to look a lot different, especially when he is actually with the team and not using that for its global effect.
It's hard to have ETC on top because you do need some peel for Phoenix and Rehgar as well. Without the face melt, you would just have to use the bunker for them to escape. So, which one do you really value even more? I think ETC soaking alone is not too bad, but Teaka's also missing in lane, so they sent Blaze Type instead to not really have anyone caught up at the bottom. So Tempest, even with the stage dive, they're still having the 1-4 rotation with the ETC at the bottom, because always the one to actually soak damage, and reset skill shots have been pretty scary in this game.
The soak damage, well, that's what we'll call it. He is always the member furthest forward, and I guess that's a good reason. His avatar has been good enough to save him for so long, but let's take a look at the bigger picture. Now that we do have only that bottom altar about to come up, where do we stand in the macro game as far as experience goes? ETC is now going to go to that top lane to soak and will be able to join this altar fight with that stage dive.
Kyocha just in time grabs the Zapper camp on top.
Now here we go, Tist going in, just going to lock up, Blaze back in the back, Big Thunder keeps reset out to the back, but Sake is going to go down, and he will. Nice pick off there by Phoenix, but Rich actually might die here in the back. That is going to be the takedown, dominated high. The Bash Bros back in the back to take him out, and now Kyocha there to be the architect of lockdown.
Survives!
Burrows, and lockdown does live. Tist might just not. Reset mobile enough to try to get back away, and Wave Force will be able to get him out safely. Tist, maybe not so lucky.
Rich was trying to find his own angle. A great positioning of that stage dive. Sign came in right in the middle, and he had to pop that cage. Once that's gone, once that is not paired up with the silence perfectly, it was paired up, but only without the damage. And what can you do without the kills? You will be losing the fight right after, and Sake was off to very low health right after taking the damage. Salvo to grab the kill, and the follow-up kills right after. Great job by Tempest, not really losing anyone in that fight. So they are breaking holes into this Gen.G comp. What seemed like a very good one with the lots of wombo, with the cage, with the silence, it just looks perfect. But when things are diving in on top of your face from the sky,
especially when they're cows, I feel like that's probably the worst thing to have fall on you from the sky. Like if there's a list, that'd be way up there. But now maybe going in again, a nice Sundering to kind of lock out Rich from everyone. And this very high priority pick of the Maev is just getting picked off right and left.
Yeah, rooted by Thrall right after the vault. Great job by Lockdown getting that in. Rich, little overextensions here and there in this game. Has been painful for the entire squad of Gen.G. Looking to possibly threat, but against the 5-man with so much CC, when you have lack of damage with relying on Leaming basically only, a good choice to fall back in this one.
And Rich, a little bit of a weak spot yesterday and today, getting punished again for his positioning. And maybe not punished for bad positioning, but just expert job separating him, taking him out there. Excellent lockdown to eliminate him. A big part of Gen.G's company, we talked about maybe seeing Disc from the Maev, but now that it's such an essential part with the cage, it's just not being utilized.
Not perfectly, yes. Just Stop the channel as it's not the ETC up here. ETC is down there with the Phoenix. They actually got the control, got the altar at the bottom. And Tempest will likely to get double altar from this one.
Yeah, there it is. Blaze will lock it down. A second shot fired across the bow of Gen.G, down to 12 core health, half of what Tempest has left.
And half, but Gen.G does have some opening because Dehaka has been getting lots of sapper, lots of waves into that bell tower. That top bell tower is actually damaged somewhat, about 30-40%. So if that actually goes down, which forces the entire rotation, and lots of time for ETC to actually be all the way up there instead of peeling for the back line, I think Gen.G will start to make a move starting there. So a lot to be done from Dehaka. Has to be making lots of good rotations right now.
That is very, very true. Anytime you do go for the globals, they are an advantage, but only if you use them correctly. So Dehaka is soaking up top. We'll see if he can rejoin this fight in a good way. Sign CC'd up in the front line. Rich will drop the cage here, but is he locked in there with them, or are they locked in there with him?
Has a spirit, but lack more than enough damage to take him out. He was locked in, thundering perfectly to isolate him alone, and even Dehaka goes down. What a terrible choice this is to have a contest at the bottom lane when they had lack of rotational speed in this case.
Good, no shield, but not a lot of burst coming his way. Here comes the stage dive from on high. Reset the target. He will be going downtown. Even more the follow-up onto Tisk. He's been indestructible so far and does have that avatar to continue to stay alive. But Tempest, they're on fire. Nothing can stop them. One team fight win, and now they are going the distance.
Socket almost saved Reset by providing the silence, not being able to use that power slide, but Hera with the Blaze, and that was the choice instead of Irel in this game, which was actually not even banned or picked in this drafting. And certainly was the right choice for Tempest. Having one extra CC, the Pyromania giving extra damage as well in this case, certainly working out really well for them.
Good. Not worried because he does have the rest of his team there to support him. So he was in a 1v3, but now actually coming in lockdown, utilizing that heal very, very well. Not scared even with a very scary team against him.
Tisk, no avatar.
No avatar.
Was on a cooldown, and 2 more shots will finish the game.
See if they can get them. Gen.G fighting against what seems like an inevitable victory.
Gets salvoed. Phoenix actually goes down. Reset snipes Phoenix, and Reach does survive because of that.
6 save by Reset. I thought that was a guaranteed kill, but Reset made it not so. Sapphire's crushing top lane will mean that maybe there's a little bit of a momentary victory for Gen.G, but they only have 2 health left on their core G Clef against 24. This is all but over.
Because Rich did not have his fault either. That was secured kill from the salvo. There was no escape from that, but Reset is looking for that tiny window of opportunity to actually grab the kill. Still only 2 HP on the core. Gen.G is at a condition. Gladly they actually got the control, because this was what I was saying. Dehaka getting the top bell tower. They can control the macro. This is Towers of Doom. Any massive comeback can be possible.
Possible, but it would take a miracle for Gen.G to come back from this. And after yesterday, I don't know if they're too fond of those.
And Tempest just hit 20. So this one, let's see how they want to rotate this one around. 5 shots for Gen.G, because that top bell tower is still not taken care of. ETC was the only one trying to get that down for Tempest.
Tempest, you know, they don't have to go for any of this. They can back up and take a more passive approach, but that is the opposite of what they're doing. Locking down Tisk early is going to be in Avatar. We'll see if the salvo can come out. It doesn't actually deal all that much damage. Goes to Burrows and dodges most of that. But now he will not have that to dodge anymore. He's trying to heal up with it straight in the front, but it's not enough. He will go down.
This may be the game, and that's Kyocha down already. They're pushing far. Sign is actually having the stage dive to isolate them. Sake pulls all the way back and stuff. Rich does survive for now. That's still 5v4. It's Ancestral, does lockdown, does survive for a little bit more than Reset. Looking for Reset, gets the kill, and Rich goes down. That's now Rich was the power source for them, and Reset not getting the extra reset. I think the game might be over here, but let's see a little bit more as this fight continues.
There's a decent amount of poke from Reset back in the back, and even Sake can be annoying. Actually, a big pick right here might be possible.
Stun after stun, that's a leaving down. No damage from Gen.G. There is no coming back from here. That's going to be game secure for Tempest.
And try though they will. Dami will complete that. Okay, well, Tist annoying. Annoying him for a little bit longer, but kill after kill will come through. Gen.G, try as they might. The series is about to be evened up. The final altar will be captured. The core will fall. Tempest will even up this series at 1-1 to make this a very, very close battle. Lots of very happy Tempest fans in the crowd. They deserve to be after a big comeback.
I think they could have finished that about 30 seconds earlier. The stage dive was not really needed. No one was pressuring Sign, who was channeling the altar, and no one was going to die at the moment. I think ETC just went in there for some style points at the end with the stage dive because they had 20. Gen.G still, I don't think they hit 20 until the very end. The power spike was there for Tempest, even though Gen.G tried their best with the final team fight. Powers of Doom, once you have that snowball and ETC having that stage dive and thinking that he was going to be at top, they actually made the right choice.